Sometimes we have to admit when we've been defeated. And I have recently been defeated by a book, but I shall return to win again. And that book is this, Shadow and Claw, specifically Shadow of the Torturer, which is the first book in the Book of the New Sun by Gene Wolfe. This book has killed me. I'm not going to be able to finish it. I'm half joking and being sarcastic. I haven't been defeated, but I'm going to have to come back to this book. I'm going to DNF it. And I kind of want to talk a little bit about that and then some other things that I've got going on. So in case you don't know, I'm doing a Read What You Own challenge where I'm reading 75 books that I already own before I buy any more. And I've got one caveat, which is I can DNF books and they go into the count. So this book, Shadow of the Torturer, DNFing it counts as book 12. But I am going to come back to it because it's a really good book. It's not a bad book. I'm not DNFing it because I don't like it. I'm DNFing it because it's pretty dense and it's pretty slow pacing with the writing. And for me, that kind of writing, I need time to read it and I need to consecutively read it in blocks of time to really kind of get into the rhythm of it. Now, I was lucky in that I spent some time last weekend, probably 3 or 4 hours, just reading and specifically reading this book. And I really enjoyed it, but then I didn't pick it up again for 4 or 5 days. And then when I did pick it up, I just felt like, okay, now I got to go back and track through again and figure out what's been happening and where I am. So I'm going to put it aside for probably the summertime when I'm not really working. I'm a teacher, so I get summers off and I'll really have time to dedicate to it. It's not a difficult book to read. In fact, it's quite a pleasure to read, but it's the kind of book for me that I've really got to give attention to. Otherwise, I'm just not really going to grasp it and understand it. And that's kind of one of the joys of reading it, is that it's really multi-layered and there's really a lot going on in the subtext. The story itself so far has not actually been very interesting or exciting in the way that literary fiction is not always very interesting or exciting. It's not very, there's not a lot going on with the plot. It's more about the characters and the development and kind of setting everything up. So going to come back to it. Gene Wolfe, you've won this round, but I will be back. What I have started reading, and I'm going to get through pretty quickly, is this, Roadside Picnic by Arkady and Boris Strugatsky. I almost said Boris and Arkady, and the internet almost caught on fire. But it's Arkady and Boris Strugatsky, Roadside Picnic. Really enjoying this. This is part of the SF Masterwork series. I really like these books, the way they're made. Really cool book, kind of cyberpunkish in a way. Maybe not, I'm not sure. I'm only about 40 pages in, but I'm really liking it. And I read 40 pages in one sitting, and it's not a massive book, so I'm sure I'm going to get through it pretty soon. And there will be a video to come about that. I'm going to talk more about book videos at the end of this book video. That's a very meta thing to say. I do have another reading lined up for January, and this is going to be a buddy read with the Lit Wizard. I've talked about this in a previous video. He and I are going to read The Lathe of Heaven by Ursula K. LeGuin. Really cool cover. Really like that. I don't know if my camera is focusing or not, but going to enjoy that, and definitely achievable. It's a pretty short book, an Ursula K. LeGuin classic. So that's kind of all I've got going on with reading. So ticked off book 12 for the Read What You Own challenge. Unfortunately, it was a DNF, but definitely going to come back to it. Not giving up on Book of the New Sun. Pretty cool stuff, and I'm intrigued to crack it and give a better opinion about that. I've got some other stuff going on with my channel. So a few channel updates. I've kind of joined up a bit with the Lit Wizard, so name dropping again. He has a Discord channel, and with a couple other creators, and we've kind of got our own sections inside of his Discord channel, which is kind of an interesting way to set up a channel. So if you like what I do and you want to hear more, you want to chat or interact, there's a link down below to our Discord. It's free. It's totally free to join. Just don't be a jerk, and everything we'll be okay. You'll find myself there. The Lit Wizard is there. Matt from Books for the Back Porch is there. I forgive my name. There's a few other creators there, and some other cool people too. And there's just a lot of really good and fun chat there. It's not too serious. And yeah, check it out. And the other thing that's kind of coming, it's on the horizon. It might be up and running by the time you watch this video. It depends when you watch this video. But I'm starting a Patreon. So I was looking into Substack, and I was almost ready to kind of go all in on Substack because I do like writing. I kind of like writing more than making videos, which is strange to say while you're making a video, but it's easier for me to write, and I feel like I can articulate my ideas better in writing, where I can kind of really slowly work on it, and I can really cut and do pairing, and I can write in a really, really targeted way. Because I've studied writing, and also not only creative writing, but also business writing. And I've kind of always done a bit of like internet marketing on the side and that kind of stuff, copywriting, that sort of thing. So I feel like I'm a decent writer. I'm not great. There's certainly much better writers than I am, but I do enjoy it. So I was really looking into Substack and thinking of doing like a paid Substack. And I love the platform. Sorry, I'm going to talk about Patreon, but I'm talking about Substack right now. Substack is a cool platform, and there's the Uncommon Reader, Chris Doherty, is on there, and I like what he does, and I think he's growing at a decent rate there. But so I really got into it, and it's a great platform. You can publish your writing, you can publish podcasts, you can publish videos, you can just do audio if you want. You can do all of those things. The features are, I have to say, the features are amazing. It's a very feature-rich platform. But after spending some time on it, after spending about 2 weeks on it, and I was on it every day. So there's two things there. First of all, it's like a social network. It's like its own social network. It's a social networking platform. But it's kind of self-contained, but it's a social networking platform. It really pulls you in, and it really sucks you in, and you can really spend a lot of time on it. And I didn't like that. I understand why they do that and why that works and why that could work to the advantage of a creator, but it's something I don't really like, and I don't want to support and condone that kind of addictive social media, social networking cycle and behavior and all that. I just kind of don't want to be a part of that. And I realize I might be leaving money on the table, or I might be walking away from a potential audience or whatever. I'm going to put it aside for now. The other thing I don't like is that it's really noisy, and it's a lot like LinkedIn. There's a lot of people posting about how successful they are, and you just need to follow them and buy their course and do their blueprint and this, that, and the other. And there's a lot of like performative posting going on, which is a nice way of saying bullshit, basically. There's some really cool people that I have found, and I think I will continue to kind of dip in and out of it as a follower and not necessarily as a creator. And I will keep my eye on it, and maybe if the algorithm changes so that it's less noisy, I might go for it now. But instead, here's my point, dear viewer, I'm starting a Patreon. And the reason that I'm starting a Patreon is that I want to make videos that go deeper into books that are just not going to do well on YouTube. So I'm going to make the Patreon as affordable as I can. It's going to be less than $10, more than $5, probably $7. And you're going to get access to book review videos. I might do longer form videos. I'm also going to dabble with kind of like behind the curtain kind of videos. I mean, I want to make videos about living abroad and about, being a reader abroad and kind of what it's like to live abroad. So I might test out some of that content there and see if it does well. That might even turn into a separate channel or a separate Patreon. But I want to do things that are book related, that are not going to do well on YouTube, that I've tried to do and they just don't do well, and they kind of are frustrating to do on YouTube. So we're going to give that a shot. I will put a link down below. And the first thing that you're going to find there, like I said, are in-depth book reviews that just don't do well here on YouTube. So I'm going to kind of stick to listicles and kind of just more like general talk about books for YouTube. But the real focus now is going to be to shift over to Patreon. So that's what I've been working on. So I'd like to hear from you. What are you reading? Are you doing the Read What You Own challenge, or have you stuck with it? Have you bought books? Have you dropped out already? Do you need to go back into book Read What You Own book rehab or something like that? Let me know too, like if you've DNF'd books intentionally, knowing that you're going to come back to it the way that I did with Book of the New Sun, Shadow and Claw, or Shadow of the Torturer. Sorry, I had to peek at that. Calm down, nerds. Shadow of the Torturer. I'm going to come back to it. I'm curious to know if you maybe have similar experience with that book or with another book. How did that go for you? Did you actually go back to it? I'm curious to know too, like when you go back to a book, do you start over again from the beginning, or do you try to find, or do you mark where you left off and then you just pick it up and just go with it? I'm kind of curious to hear how people do that. So there you go. In case you don't know, my name is Carl, and this has been Please Read Your Book.